All right, ladies and gents, what's up? It's Mike from the 1000K to Tokyo Kayaking Expedition. Today I'm going to talk about packing your kayak and what things you want to watch out for and how you want to pack your kayak. So excuse me, there may be some noise around me. It's just apparently construction behind me. Not the pristine conditions, but we'll make do. I'm actually in Tokyo now. I just finished yesterday, and I'm behind Haneda Airport, which is one of the largest airports in Japan. I'm camped out behind it. So let's talk about the kayak. So I'm going to grab my second GoPro to get a view for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. So let's get this on. So I'm going to start with the front of the kayak now. So if we move to the front, here we can see actually how I packed my kayak. So in the front of the kayak, what I have is I have an extra jacket in this front bag here, the lightest part. So the lightest stuff wants to go all the way in the front. Next I have two bags here you can see. This is a bag with miscellaneous items, electronics in it and such. This is my tent, which is wrapped pretty tight, and some tent poles. Those go next to each other. There's a little more space as you get further down in the bulkhead. If we go further back here, we have two more bags. We have your sleeping pads. I have two here because my sleeping pad actually broke. So I have two sleeping pads that I'm using, and I just put them, there's kind of a large area back here inside the compartment toward the end where the bulkhead is. So I can fit a lot of stuff in there. So I put my sleeping pads. This is some condensed milk. It's really sugary, great for kayakers. I put my MSR fuel bottle in there. Some extra food, which you can see here, some horribly tasting fish sausage, which I hate with a passion, and some things called mochi, which are basically hard rice, very popular here in Japan, really dense calories. And also, ironically, this stove took a real beating. Initially, there was a lot of water leaking in my bulkhead, so you can actually tell that, oh my God, this stove actually, there's a massive amount of corrosion. I mean, it's actually green in some parts. I'm obviously gonna have to get a new stove. This is completely rusted, but this thing made it through hell and back, so I really have to give it to MSR. This is the Whisper Light International. So I'm definitely gonna give them their 10 points. Let's move on to this part of the kayak now. So on the top of the kayak, what I have is I have a pot, and the pot is actually mounted. What I usually do is mount it with a string so it doesn't come off in rough weather. So I mount it down and actually tie it down. And this is my cooking pot. It's of course completely black from being cooked on the fire so many times. Here on the deck bag, this is a NRS Taj Mahal deck bag, and inside the deck bag I keep a few things. I was actually keeping the solar juice charger with the reflector kit. I'll talk about that. There's really important things you need to know about this item. I keep the Aquapack, the iPad case from Aquapack, which is a waterproof case. This is in case I get some serious navigational issues. I always have a backup with my DeLorme tracker, my DeLorme satellite tracker. As we move forward, I have my compass. This is a Seattle Sports compass, really inexpensive, so I highly recommend you get this compass. Check it out. Next to it, I have my Bexon. This is the bilge pump, so I could pump out a lot of water with this pretty fast if I capsize or anything. So before I progress forward, I want to talk about what's in the front quickly, that you really want to keep the front light. If you're going to go through some heavy surf or go through some rough days, you want your front to stay light. I fortunately, this kayak's very old, so it doesn't have a rocker in the front. It's not tilted upwards. It's basically straight, which gives it a submarine effect when it starts to go into surf, which is not something you want, but it was a free kayak. Thanks for my kayak instructor, so of course I can't complain. But definitely keep your front light regardless. Let's move forward. So as I said, we have the deck bag I went over already. We have the bilge pump here, a Seattle Sports compass, a very cheap compass, really excellent. It's called the Sea Rover, Seattle Sports Sea Rover. Here I have the map case. So this is the NRS map case, and I'm not trying to plug NRS, but this is a really excellent map case. I know a lot of people who have Montbell map cases, and they leak a lot. I've never had this map case leak once in over 700 miles of paddling in some horrible conditions. So it kept my maps dry every time. What you might want to do is get one of those little water absorbing packets and put a few, well, not one, put a few in there to keep the water out. That would probably be a good idea, because moisture does collect in there just because of the changes in temperature. Also, one thing you'll notice is this here. So this attaches to my paddle. This keeps my paddle from sliding out or from getting lost. This is a really important piece of gear I recommend you have. This is from Northwater, but it's a paddle leash. You can get paddle leashes anywhere, so check that out. Next we'll move to the Pelican dry case. So this is the 1150 case. In here I keep my cell phone, my good camera, I keep 3 external batteries, so a lot of stuff I keep in here, really important gear. It's been perfect so far, no leaks at all, so I keep that inside of my cockpit. Now, what I do, this is really important for you to understand. When you're, especially on the Expedition, let's say you roll or something happens, the stuff in your cockpit, you're gonna lose it all, right? So if you look here, what I'm actually doing is I'm tying, for me, I have this long bar going from the rear bulkhead to the front bulkhead. So I tie down this Pelican case. So what happens if I flip is it doesn't leave, right? It doesn't go anywhere and I don't lose anything. So I keep that actually all the way towards the front bulkhead past my feet, so I have extra space because I don't have any other space in the front or rear bulkheads or storage compartments to put anything. Next, let's look at these waters. So here I have about 10 liters of water. So this will keep me for about 5 days. And I put this behind my seat. The reason I put this behind my seat is because there's a lot of extra weight. And you want to keep the weight basically where you are and back. You want to keep your center of gravity there. So I keep the waters behind my seat. I put the 10 liters of water behind my seat. Also, between my legs, I put water here, which I drink. And I also put a pee bottle. It's very important if you're kayaking for a long distance. You absolutely will have to pee. There's 2 options. Either you can not use this and try to pee really strongly out of the kayak and probably pee on yourself in the process, or use this and just pee on yourself a little bit. I choose to pee on myself only a little bit. So yeah, this is an excellent thing you should definitely check out. This is a pee bottle that I found on some trash in the beach. But yeah, so I keep that with me in the center so I can easily go to the bathroom. Now, if we move to the back, here, this is exactly how I have it laid out in the back. So what I have here is I have my food, and I use a Seattle Sports bag, a Seattle Sports frost pack for my food. I can't really speak more highly of this. Just, I've used a lot of other things. I've used trash bags, everything, and it's just been a disaster. This is the one thing that's, I mean, it's already been, as I said, 700 miles, over 1,000 kilometers. It's held up strong. So that's what I keep. And this is about 15 pounds of food. There's enough for about 2 weeks in here. Now, if we open it, you can see, this is, since I've been on the Expedition now for a long time, there's not a lot of food left, but there's spaghetti, I mean, there's sauce, there's ramen, there's maybe 6 pounds of rice in there. There's a lot of rice, really dense calorie food. On the side of that, I put the top to my pot, and I also put something, this is, I don't know if you know what this is. This is a really amazing thing I saw for the first time while I was in Japan. But this allows you to make a fire, and then what you can do is you can keep your pot on this so it doesn't fall into the fire. So if you notice, it's all full of ash, of course, but you keep your pot on this and then you can cook. Really excellent piece of gear. Try to find this. I don't know what it's called in America. Maybe, I don't know, pot saver or something. Check this out. Next thing I put behind my frost pack is I put a small bag for electronics, a waterproof bag. This is a Seal Line bag I've used. I recommend these. These are really durable, and I actually had to buy these, so these weren't a sponsor, but they're excellent bags. I mean, I've used a Montbell bag, and unfortunately both my Montbell bags have holes in them. So I'm using now the Seal Line bags. Behind that I have a sleeping bag. This is, inside here is a 5-degree sleeping bag from Western Mountaineering, the Antelope microfiber bag, really excellent bag. And this is the Cedar Summit compression sack, and this is with the event fabric on the bottom. So this is a 5-degree bag, and I can compress it down to really condensed rate, so it fits perfectly in my kayak. And also it's a waterproof bag, so when you do get a lot of water in your kayak, well, hopefully not, but if it does happen, your bag will be okay and you won't die of cold at night. What I put behind that is I put my clothes. This is another Sea Line bag, and that's basically jammed this direction to the end of the kayak, and that goes my clothes. So what I want you to notice too, if we look at this section here, is that the heavy stuff is basically concentrated right towards my back with the food in the water. The rest here is light stuff as well. So I'm keeping the ends of the kayak relatively light, which you should do. On top of the rear hatch, what I put in my paddle. This is an emergency paddle I have here, and this works out really well. I haven't used it yet, of course, because I haven't lost my main paddle, which is my Nimbus Chinook paddle, which I really love, 245 centimeters. Let me move back up. So basically, that's all the gear. That's what I have. As I said, to review the most important points, you keep your front light, you keep your rear light, keep a lot of your weight towards the center. Oh, one thing I forgot, which you probably should bring. I bring wet wipes. There's a really funny guy on YouTube who talks about, he has a shovel, and funny joke, maybe a long joke, I'm sorry, but he has a shovel, and he says the shovel's for building sandcastles. And I didn't think it was that funny. I don't know. I don't really build sandcastles. Obviously, it's to make a poop hole, a foxhole as they call it. But I just go ahead and say it. You should bring some butt wipes, and use a stick. I don't bring shovels. I'm not a sand kind of guy. I'm not a sandcastle kind of guy. But yeah, so this is all the gear. Light in the front, light in the rear, a lot of your weight in the center. If you have anything important that you keep in your cockpit, there's a lot of storage in your cockpit you can use. Make sure you tie it down. You probably will lose it if you roll. So the waters I'm not too concerned about. I should have tied them down, I know. You can get a bag. MSR has waterproof bags that carry water. You can also put them in there, tie those down to something in the back if you really want to be safe. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know in the comments below. Once again, this is Mike. So until next time, happy expeditions. Peace.